Absolute madness, absolute madness. Norway and England progress through to face each other in the quarterfinals of the World Cup. Mad Brazil, obviously being knocked out. Neymar retiring from international football. Vinicius, absolutely nothing. If I'm being honest, this entire tournament, but we will talk about that in a moment. Mexico, the altitude, there was a lot of conversation about that. Is it going to be too much for England? How can England handle it? We had people from the BBC going on marathon runs and things like that just to test the altitude. But guess what? It was altitude. It was outer Jude. Jude at the double to help England progress through. Of course, they went down to 10 men, but we'll talk all about that. Guys, leave your thoughts in the comment section. It's been a crazy, crazy round of 16. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to get straight into it. So, obviously, as I mentioned before, the two games, and yeah, it's just been a bit of a weird one, if I'm being totally honest with you. Because as I said before the game, I mean, England game maybe. I think that one I would have predicted potentially England to go through, or they should be going through. The Norway game, I think that's the one that really did surprise me, and I think that's the one we're going to start off with. So, as I mentioned before, obviously Norway getting the victory over Brazil 2-1. Haaland at the double. I mean, what more can we say about this guy? Do you get what I mean? There really isn't nothing. I think what I'll say about Haaland is, and listen, look, I think this season, when we're looking at it in terms of players who have played really well this season, Harry Kane has definitely been the better player this season. But if we're talking about just in a general kind of sense, everybody knows Haaland is my guy. That is the striker that I would love to have in my team. I think everybody would, to be honest with you. You're talking about a player who does not need to be involved in the game. He doesn't need to have touches of the ball. I think he had about 30 touches in the game. That's all he needs. 30 touches, two of them were goals. Did you get that? And they were the decisive goals. That is what Erling Haaland brings. I get it. Some people don't like his hold-up play, even though I do think this season it's been pretty good with Manchester City. Some people don't like the fact that he doesn't touch the ball. They think he's anonymous. They think this, they think that. And listen, you're probably all right. Did you get me? You're probably all right. I'm not even going to disagree with you in that regards. But you know what you can't say about Erling Haaland, which you can probably say about other players, and I'm including Kane, I'm including Kylian Mbappe, is that the concentration levels that this guy must be operating at, and I can only guess because I don't know, but the levels of concentration he must be on, it for me, from what I see and just how we watch the game and stuff like that, it's got to be higher than any other player that I can see currently playing football. It has to be, because for you to continuously score at the rate that you score at, and I think his record for Norway is he's got more goals than games. I think I could be potentially wrong, but I'm sure it's more goals than games. But forget even that. It's just his general overall record in football at this moment in time. It's phenomenal. This is a guy who's playing his first World Cup, and in kind of typical Haaland fashion, he's just kind of just going along with it. He's like, yeah, even the interview he did again, just before the France game, even though he didn't play in that game, they obviously rotated the team ready for, this game. But even the interview, he's like, yeah, I mean, France are, they're good. They're probably going to win anyway. I mean, it wouldn't even make a difference. And I just really love a player like this. Like, for me, he's just the purest form of a striker that you can possibly think of. That's not to suggest that Harry Kane, Kylian Mbappe are not also of the elite level of strikers. And I think, again, they are better footballers in terms of other things that they can kind of do, whether it be the running in behind from Kylian Mbappe, whether it be the dropping deep from a Harry Kane. Again, I also feel that Haaland can do those two things as well, kind of thing. He doesn't have the tricks, he doesn't have the flicks, he doesn't have the skill and stuff like that. Do you know what he does? He scores goals, and he doesn't need to touch the ball for 60 odd minutes, and he will put that ball in the back of the net. You have to watch this guy the entire game. Other players, you can kind of, I saw Haaland with his hands on his hips, walking. I only see Messi doing that. I only see Messi doing it. And not to say that no other player in the world has ever done that. Of course they've done that. Are they as effective as Haaland? Not even close. You couldn't name me another player as effective as Haaland who can do all of those kind of things, who's not named Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi, both in their kind of prime. So that's what I love, about Erling Haaland. Honestly, he's just the best striker, man. Like he's just the best. He's honestly just the best. But when we talk about Brazil, poor this tournament. I think they've been poor. You're not going to bamboozle me with victories against, was it Haiti and friggin' Scotland? You're not going to bamboozle me. I think the writing probably was on the wall against Morocco, to be honest with you. But even when you're watching them play, and I think they may need to take a leaf out of what Germany are doing, obviously hiring Jurgen Klopp, who's probably going to work with the whole German kind of organization, the German FA, to just kind of figure out what they need to do moving forward, just as a nation, a footballing nation, a very proud one and a good one at that. Brazil are the same thing. I think they're going to have to do that. I understood the appointment of getting Ancelotti in tournament football. He said it in his press conference about the whole style of play and not really caring. He's just here for the winning part, essentially, right? Not word for word, but you know what I mean? And it's just, I understand that because you're getting in one of the better coaches out there. Problem is, tournament football, I do understand that ethos, but from what we're seeing anyway, and he probably wasn't to know this, but from what we're seeing, you kind of need a style of play, whatever it is. Heck, even Paraguay have one or had one before they obviously got knocked out. And again, 1-0 against, the probably arguably the best team in the tournament. It's not a bad result. Do you get what I mean? So I think when we're looking at Brazil moving forward, they definitely need to think about what it is that they want to do, how they want to kind of proceed moving forward. I get it. Obviously, listen, look, I'm a nostalgia merchant, so I do understand in regards to, looking at the yesteryears, the Kakas, Ronaldinhos, Rivaldos, Ronaldos, and all of the Robinhos. Yeah, those kind of players. They are out there. Let's not get it twisted. They are out there, but I just think that with the way that football is at the moment, of how robotic it is, I just don't think those kind of players will be able to necessarily flourish, in games like this. And if they are, they're just not really going to be allowed to. We've seen how people have, tormented Vinicius Jr., over there in Spain. This is a guy who loves the flair. He loves the tricks. He loves the skills. He loves to bring out that entertainment side. But again, people get onto him for it. So it's almost like, you kind of get pigeonholed into something else. And it's just one of those kind of things. So again, I don't know what Brazil are going to do moving forward. Obviously, Neymar retiring as well. It's kind of messy. If I'm being honest with you, for Brazil at this moment in time, they really are going to have to think about what it is that they do moving forward. But ultimately, out of the World Cup, and in my opinion, Norway deserve the victory, and they deserve to be in that next round. So it's going to be interesting to see how that kind of pans out. But yeah, let's wait and see. On to England. On to England, guys. It is literally 5 a.m. and I'm recording this video. The game finished not too long ago, obviously delayed as well. So loads of things. Everyone's talking about the altitude and oh my goodness. And as I mentioned, you had people from the BBC doing, 5-mile runs and stuff just to test the altitude and stuff like that. But guess what? As I said, Jude at the double. Jude at the double, man. I think in the end, I would definitely say that England deserved the victory. They held out. Listen, I think we all knew how Mexico was probably going to play, especially being the home team with the home crowd. It was going to be, and we know about Mexico's fast starts in games and stuff like that. This is the team who've only lost about twice in 80-odd games, and all these kind of, or 60, whatever it is. They've not lost a lot of games in a lot of games. So when you're looking at a team like Mexico, this is always going to be a tough test for England anyway. It's going to be a different test than the one against a team like Congo and against a team like Ghana. But yeah, it was still a test. And I think, in the end, they deserved it. In the end, they deserved it. I'll say that much. But I mean, Jesus Christ. I mean, if it wasn't for, they're going to need to thank Pickford like there is no tomorrow. They really, really are. Kwanzaa is going to need to thank Pickford, because obviously he got himself sent off. And I was even saying, listen, turn off your social media if England get knocked out, because they ain't going to be pretty for you. We know how that story kind of goes. But thankfully for his sake, that England made it through. But again, a problem at right back. It's going to be interesting to see how they kind of work that. But on Jude Bellingham himself, I just think that such an interesting player, so clutch. I might not rate him as highly as everyone rates him, but I can't deny his clutchness. Like, it is ridiculous It is honestly, but like I think England can rely more upon him than they can a Harry Kane. If I'm being super honest with you, I think he's more clutch than Harry Kane in tournament football. Obviously, Harry Kane's gonna score more goals and stuff like that. But in tournament football, when you need it the most, he is the guy that seems to always come up for England. Always, 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 always. So, like I said, big up to him. Anthony Gordon, I felt was really good in this game. In terms of his pressing, and everyone likes to laugh about it. Oh, he's only here for the running around. Guess what? That was fucking handy. Yeah, I mean, running onto the flick on. For the penalty. For England again. These are things that it's the ugly work, and of course people don't. It's not pretty to see, but you need to do it. You need to do it, and I think towards that back end as well. Listen, look, Mexico made it extremely easy for England. I'm not saying it's easy to deal with that, but I did think that Mexico did make it somewhat easy for England towards the end of the game, where you're doing the same thing. It's like England went down to 10 men, and I get it. They bring on Dan Burns, they bring on Jed Spence, kind of thing. And you got pace and you got height. So that's obviously going to be, okay. You're going to want to put the ball into the box. That's fine. But you didn't continue playing in the way that you were playing up to this point, which helped you to get to this point. You kind of changed it. Once you changed it, you just played into England's hand. And like I said, England towards the end, I felt like they deserved it. I really, really felt like they deserved it. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting quarterfinal. I can't lie to you. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how this kind of works out. Kane, Haaland, Jude, Ødegaard, like how does that kind of work out? I think Norway are a very smart team. That's one thing I will say. Norway are extremely smart. So it's going to be that's why I feel like it's going to be a real tactical battle in this kind of game, for England, but also for Norway as well. Norway going to have to deal with the threat of an England, with Jude Bellingham, with Harry Kane, with the wingers, Saka, kind of a bit dead in the game, but you know what Saka's about, kind of thing. So I think, like I said, I just think that both teams deserved to go through. I think it's going to be a good quarterfinal in terms of just maybe the tactical battle. But we'd have to wait and see. We really, really will have to wait and see. But guys, let me know your thoughts in the comment section in regards to the two games. Did you look at England and think to yourself that they really did live up to the expectations? Did you look at Brazil? How have you felt about them, in this tournament, especially with Neymar, as I mentioned before, now retiring? Just let me know your thoughts, man. But listen, big up to Haaland, big up to Jude. 2 goals on the night. Deserved it. I'll catch you guys soon. Boo.